Welcome to SciSage, where everything is simple. We're going to start with a feeling I bet you know all too well. It's that foggy, kind of irritable, just on edge sensation you get after a really rough night's sleep. And you probably just chalk it up to being tired, right? But what if it's something more? What if it's like your body's check engine light flashing on? What if your sleep is actually trying to send you a really critical warning?
So let's really dive into that. I mean, we have all been there. You toss and turn all night long, and then the next day, poof, your focus is just gone, your mood is all over the place, and there's this low-level anxiety just buzzing right under the surface. It's so easy to just blame it on a lack of energy, but the real reason? Well, it's rooted way deeper, right inside your brain's chemistry.
Yeah, and this is because the link between your sleep and your mental state, it's way more direct, way more profound than most of us ever think about. This isn't just about feeling a little groggy. No, it's about the literal systems inside your brain that control your emotions starting to fail. All right, so let's pop the hood and see what's really happening inside your brain when you're running on empty. To get this, we've got to talk about one of the brain's most important jobs. And that job is something called emotional regulation. The best way to think about it is like it's your brain's internal thermostat for your feelings, right? It's what keeps you from getting way too hot with anger or freezing up with anxiety. And good quality sleep is absolutely essential for that system to work properly. When you don't get it, that thermostat just goes completely haywire.
So how exactly does it go haywire? Well, when you're sleep deprived, it's like a communication breakdown happens between two really important parts of your brain. First, your prefrontal cortex, that's the logical, rational part, the brake for your emotions, it gets sluggish, it's impaired. At the exact same time, your amygdala, which is the emotional gas pedal, it gets floored. It becomes totally overactive. So think about that. You've got no brakes and a lead foot on the gas pedal of your emotions. Then you throw in a huge surge of the stress hormone cortisol, and boom, you've got the perfect storm for anxiety, for wild mood swings, and even for depression. But wait, it actually gets even more serious than that. See, while you're sleeping, your brain runs this incredible essential cleaning cycle. It's managed by something called the glymphatic system. You can think of it like a nighttime janitorial crew for your brain. Its job is to clear out all the toxic gunk and waste proteins that build up while you're awake, and that includes a nasty one called amyloid beta, which you've probably heard of because it's linked to Alzheimer's disease. So when you have chronic poor sleep, that cleaning crew basically goes on strike. They can't do their job, and all those toxins just start to pile up. This means that bad sleep isn't just a bad day. It's a real long-term threat to the health of your brain.
Okay, so how does your body actually try to tell you that something's wrong? We're going to look at 5 really common sleep disorders that are basically early warning signs for bigger psychological and neurological problems. And we'll start with the ones that mess with the very basics, being awake when you should be and asleep when you need to be. All right, warning sign number 1, and it's the big one, insomnia. And let's be clear, this is not about having 1 or 2 bad nights here and there. We're talking about a persistent, frustrating pattern of either having trouble falling asleep, trouble staying asleep, or both. And it causes real problems for you during the day. And the type of insomnia you have can be a huge clue. For example, if you're lying there, mind racing, just can't fall asleep, that is super common with anxiety. What if you fall asleep fine, but then wake up in the middle of the night and can't get back to sleep? That's a classic risk factor for depression. And waking up way, way too early, that can trap you in this awful, vicious cycle that just makes these mental health issues stick around and get even worse. Okay, on to our second warning sign, narcolepsy. And listen, this goes so far beyond just feeling sleepy. This is a serious, chronic neurological condition where the brain literally loses its ability to control its own sleep-wake cycles.
So someone with narcolepsy can feel this overwhelming sleepiness during the day and even have what are called sleep attacks. But it's more than that. They can experience something called cataplexy, which is a sudden loss of muscle control, often triggered by a strong emotion like laughter. They can also have really terrifying sleep paralysis and hallucinations. So you see, this isn't just about needing a quick nap. It's a deeply disruptive condition that's screaming, hey, there's a major misfire in the brain's control center.
All right, let's shift gears to our next group of warnings, Now, we're not just talking about being awake or asleep. We're talking about strange, disruptive things that happen while you're sleeping. Our third warning sign is restless leg syndrome, or RLS. And the key word here isn't restless, it's urge. This isn't just about twitchy legs. It's this powerful, almost creepy crawly, overwhelming need to move your legs. And it always gets worse right when you're trying to relax or go to sleep. As you can imagine, that irresistible urge makes falling asleep just incredibly hard. And for a lot of people, the symptoms get so bad they're actually disabling. It leads to constant sleep interruptions, which means brutal daytime fatigue, and honestly, just a really poor quality of life. It's a physical problem, for sure, but with huge psychological fallout. Okay, now for what might be the single most alarming warning sign we're going to talk about today, REM sleep behavior disorder, or RBD. And this is where things can get, well, really active. So here's how it's supposed to work. During REM sleep, the dreaming stage, your brain flips a switch that paralyzes your muscles. It's a state called atonia, and it's basically a safety feature to stop you from physically acting out your dreams. But in someone with RBD, that safety switch is broken. The paralysis just doesn't happen. And so the person starts to physically act out whatever they're dreaming. And those dreams can be intense, vivid, and sometimes even violent. It's a real danger, both for them and for anyone sleeping next to them. But here's the absolute most critical part of this warning. Listen to this. RBD is one of the strongest predictors we have for serious neurodegenerative diseases, things like Parkinson's, Lewy body dementia, and others. And the craziest part, it often shows up years, sometimes even decades, before any of the other classic symptoms of these diseases appear. It is a massive, profound warning coming directly from the sleeping brain. Okay, our final group of warnings gets down to the most basic, fundamental process there is, just breathing. And this brings us to warning sign number 5, obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA. This is a condition where, during sleep, a person's airway gets blocked, and they literally stop and start breathing over and over again, all night long. The classic signs you hear about are that really loud, persistent snoring, and a partner might notice actual pauses in breathing, often followed by a sudden gasp or a choke for air. See, every single time the breathing stops, the brain panics and yanks you out of sleep just enough to get you breathing again. This can happen hundreds of times a night. It completely destroys your sleep quality and starves your body of oxygen. And this isn't just about feeling sleepy the next day. It puts incredible strain on your heart and is a huge risk factor for high blood pressure, heart disease, and yes, even increased mortality. Okay, I know we've just covered 5 really serious warnings that your sleep might be sending, and it can sound pretty overwhelming. I get it. But here's the thing. Just identifying that there might be a problem is the single most powerful step you can take towards a solution. So let's talk about what you can actually do. Here is a really clear 3-step path to getting help. Step 1, you need to become a detective of your own sleep. Start a sleep diary, seriously. Just track when you go to bed, when you wake up, and how you feel. Step 2, take that diary, that data, to your doctor. And it is so important not to downplay what you're experiencing. You have to be your own best advocate. And step 3, be open to getting a sleep study done. It's called a polysomnogram, and it's really the gold standard for getting a definitive diagnosis for a lot of these issues. And here is some genuinely great news. Getting treatment doesn't automatically mean you'll be put on medication. In fact, there are therapies like CBTI, that stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy for Insomnia, that are incredibly effective. It works by helping you change the thoughts and habits that are wrecking your sleep in the first place. And get this, studies show that CBTI works just as well as sleeping pills in the short run, and it's actually better in the long run because it fixes the root cause of the problem instead of just masking it. So we've looked at these incredible connections between your mind, your body, and your sleep. From keeping your emotions in check to literally flushing toxic waste out of your brain, sleep is not passive. It is an active, vital, essential process. And all these disruptions we've talked about, they aren't just little annoyances. They are signals. They are warnings. So the final question I want to leave you with isn't for me. It's for you to really ask yourself, what is your sleep trying to tell you?